good afternoon, good looking people. It's the podcast series, Advanced Partners, and I'm here with a wild and how do I say it, energetic guest we have today. Gretchen is in the house from Chicago. What's up, Gretchen?
Not much. Just hoping it's going to get warm here soon.
Oh, I tell you what, it's like even here in Pittsburgh, it's a little overcast, maybe 65. So we're getting there, progression.
Slowly.
Slowly.
Too slow.
Oh boy. But boy, do we have a great chat offline. And we're going to show everybody today some great stuff of how to grow your staffing firm. We're going to talk about some street talk, real talk, and funding. So Gretchen, you ready to rock and roll with this or what?
Yes, I am.
Ask away. I'm going to ask you, is this your first podcast?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome to the stage. You know you're out for the real world. You're on the X,
I know,
Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, you're live everywhere. Yeah. But okay, so let's just deep dive into who Gretchen is. I know, give us like a little 2-minute tour of who you are.
So I grew up in Michigan, moved to Chicago in 1995 and was dove right into medical sales right out of college and became a partner at 24 in a startup and just kind of progressed over the years and ended up starting my own medical equipment business in 2005, which has morphed into a lot of different things since then, and then decided to dive into staffing in 2017.
Look at you. Okay, so we got to go back to the medical Sleep RX. How did you come up with this? Seriously, I got to ask you.
So when I started in medical sales, we primarily did respiratory and sleep equipment. And back then, sleep apnea really was not a focus for primary care physicians. And so over the years that I was involved, we ended up starting, when I started my first company at 24, a medical equipment business that did both respiratory and sleep. And then we actually opened up freestanding sleep laboratories. And we also did in-home attended sleep studies. So we actually had technicians that went and spent the night at patients' homes, which was a very needed thing back then. And so I ended up leaving there and starting my own company that was all based on treating patients with sleep apnea and just the medical equipment side, because there was really a need for it and it was growing. And it's a very large population of people, and many of them are undiagnosed. So, and then we've morphed over time into all different aspects of medical equipment: diabetic, lymphedema, respiratory, and sleep.
Nice. Okay, so you had that company, and then you created this company, I believe, as a co-founder with Aura. So, what made you jump into the staffing industry?
So I had a friend that was in healthcare staffing. So I learned a lot about the industry over several years and saw a lot of things that, as an owner on the other side, who did a lot of hiring of clinicians with my medical equipment company, I saw a lot of things that I would never do as an agency. And it just really made me want to do something differently and really help companies like mine find quality people and have a long-term solution and not try to fill cracks and voids with temporary Band-Aids. So that's kind of how it all started back in 2017.
Sweet. Okay, so let's deep dive in now. We're gonna have a great chat. Are you ready for this? So
yes, I am.
No nervous. We're just have fun with this. So in healthcare, what do you see the biggest, like from between permanent placement and contract work? Where do you see like in 2024 going? Because I mean, I hear on both ends. Do you think it's more contract work right now, or do you think there's a lot of people doing permanent placements? What's your take on this?
So we've kind of watched it bounce back and forth, and I really think that the market is trying to correct itself right now. We're seeing a lot of our clients running into, financial problems for sure. They've bled with staffing cost, and I think during COVID, obviously, it was really bad. But the states came in and supported a lot of the facilities, and now they've kind of removed themselves and took the Band-Aid off, and it's really affected people. And I do see them pulling back, and they are operating short-staffed. And we are trying to come in and show them, like, you've got to have a good balance here, and you've really got to fill these voids permanently. So it's still I feel like moving, there's not really, to me, I have not seen a definition of it going in one direction or the other. We're seeing a mix of both, but we're definitely seeing a pull back on both too. So we have seen business go down in the past 6 months. And I think, again, it's just trying to correct itself from COVID.
Yeah, exactly. The pandemic. So, okay. So let's take a
Yeah.
step backwards to the pandemic. How was that with your staffing firm? Because especially in healthcare, it was
Crazy.
like the wild, wild west. So tell me a little bit about what went down with the pandemic in your company.
So we were brought in on a couple of really big contracts, and I have friends that are in the consulting arena for assisted living, skilled nursing, long-term care, which was obviously heavily hit. And they brought us in all over the United States to help because people were struggling and they didn't know what to do, and the states weren't moving fast enough. And so we really kind of spread our wings during COVID. And then we were brought in on a large state contract in Massachusetts, and that threw us into traveling and travelers.
Ooh.
And learning how to deal with emergencies. You know, we were asked to bring in 100 travel nurses, and we had 60 days to do it. I don't even think it was 60 days. And we made it happen, but we all dove in to help. They were in a really bad crisis situation, and there were 2 companies that were brought in, and we just all jumped in and did what we had to do, and we filled the spots, and we still do some business with them on that project, but it's not quite as big because they pulled back.
Did you see during that time a lot of like healthcare workers, like, come and go because of the stress and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a mix. There were some people that, I think that weren't willing. They've just been at a hospital for a long time, or they've been at a long-term care facility for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the people that are not going to travel. And they really got stressed during that time. A lot was dumped on them, and they were expected to be at work more than they normally were. Then they're seeing travelers come in being paid a huge difference in what they were being paid. And so there was a lot of frustration. And you did see a lot of people leave the industry. And in fact, we've had nurses come to us wanting to get into recruiting and just get away from the nursing in general. But then there was that other population that were like, we're going to capitalize on this and pick up our lives and move all over the United States and save as much money as we can. And we still have some travelers that have been in Massachusetts for 3 years. They've never left. So, I think you've seen a mix of both, but we definitely don't have enough healthcare workers in the United States. I mean, we all know that it's a big problem, and it needs to be addressed. And now with some of the new legislature that's being passed, that's on the president's desk to be signed as we speak, forcing the skilled nursing and assisted living and independent living facilities to have a certain level of, clinicians at all times on staff. I mean, this is really going to hurt people. And unless there's going to be reimbursement improvements, I don't know how these places are going to survive. I just really don't.
It's funny, Gretchen, even down here in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, I see a lot of these hospitals. The big companies are buying them up. You know what I mean? The little ones can't survive anymore in these little boroughs and stuff like that. And this is sad, seriously, because
rural healthcare is suffering, and it's going to suffer more as time goes on. I mean, unless some of these big conglomerates come in and back them up, I don't know how they're going to make it. I just don't.
Well, even I fell a couple of weeks ago on my hand, and I need to go to see a hand specialist 7 weeks out. I mean, what do you do the rest of the time? Just put in a sling and just take Advil? Seriously, it's like there's nowhere to go. And I found this out.
Go on YouTube. You find a way to take care of yourself.
Oh, no. Stay away from YouTube. They'll find out everything's wrong with me then. So getting the travel nurses, what do you think that is? Because on my end, everybody that's a nurse wants to be a travel nurse because of per diem and all that stuff. Do you see it's like going to explode more, or do you think it's hit its peak?
No, I think it's going to continue for sure. I mean, there's no other way to plug the holes right now. It's impossible. I mean, we've definitely seen a huge influx in Q1, actually in Q2, even more so, of a lot of RFPs coming out through Health and Human Services, Department of Mental Health and within states, putting out bids to support their mental health hospitals, to support their state-run facilities with travelers. And obviously they would love to see a balance of local and travelers. But it will be more heavy travelers because obviously with the mental health issues going on right now too, I mean, it's exploded and they can't keep up with it. They just can't. So I don't see that the travelers are that portion of the business is going to die down. I feel like it's going to stay and maybe even increase as this mental health issue increases across the United States. But again, now we're at that point too, where travelers expect to see the same rates that we saw during COVID, and it's just not a reality.
Nope,
it's just not.
Like Eminem said, that was a one-shot deal. You know,
that's it. That's it. And honestly, if you were there and you were able to jump in and help, you know, and you were able to be a traveler, more power to you that you were able to capitalize on that time. You know, however you want to look at it, capitalize or able to jump in and help. That's great. But those times are not here anymore. And we have to rein it in a little bit because of the spending and the situation that a lot of these facilities are in financially. It's not good. And the states are not going to back them.
Well, they don't have money themselves. You know how that is. I mean, everybody's broke. So the mental health and wellness, we got to talk about that because that's a big subject across the region here. Do you see more psychologists? We need more people in the healthcare industry to talk about this because I know these appointments are backed up like 6 months from now to even get any kind of assistance. So how do we, Gretchen, do you have anything that you can throw out there that how do we speed this process up for healthcare? I mean, for people that need to be seen by a doctor or a psychologist, and there's not enough of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it flows across, you know, social work too, and the schools are even suffering. And I know that my son's struggled for a long time to find a permanent social worker, and now they have one, but it's only a couple days a week. And there's a lot of kids that need support and somebody to talk to. Life has gotten busier and a lot of kids get left behind, but it's not just kids. Obviously, adults have struggled too. And our elderly population really gets hit hard. A lot of them are left alone to struggle and suffer on their own, especially after they lose partners or their kids move away. So I think that over time, you know, we need to do a better job as our children grow up and in high school and in college to show them that there's other fields that they can get into, that it's not just becoming a physician or a nurse, but there are other ways to support, you know, everybody across the world from a psychological standpoint, you know, whether that be a social worker, but we need to educate our kids that there's other employment opportunities for them out there and really push that, because I think that population is just going to continue to grow. And it's concerning. I mean, we all know people that have lost their lives over the past 4 or 5 years to suicide. And I've definitely seen a big increase in my network, my friends and their nieces and nephews. And it really seemed to have hit kids hard that were in high school and college. And I still haven't put my finger on why. I mean, I know that a lot of them struggled being stuck at home during COVID, but I still can't put my finger on why it got so bad. But we need more people in the profession is the bottom line. And I think that we need to show that there's opportunity out there at a younger age. And it's not just about becoming an attorney or a physician or working in marketing, but there's other opportunities within healthcare too.
100%. You hit it on the head. The social service field needs to grow. And I think it actually needs a better income too. You know what I mean? A lot of people getting social workers, they do it for the heart and soul, but you got a master's degree and I know the pay is like, man, I mean, it's not enough to survive anymore.
It's not. And they can't pay off their student loans. It's impossible. I mean, I have so many physician friends that said, you know, if they were to do it all over again, and clients of mine, they would never go to medical school. I mean, they're paying off loans for 20, 30 years. I mean, it's crazy. And primary care physicians just don't make the money to pay it off. So there has to be a better way to do this. And obviously right now in the short term, we have to have some kind of fix. And whether that's, you know, have some kind of program where we bring people in from other countries, whatever we need to do it for the citizens of the US. I mean, we have to.
100%. So what's your degree in, Gretchen, real quick?
Marketing.
Mine's in criminal justice. Look where we're at right now. That tells you about it. Whatever you have in your degree, over half the people don't even use that.
Psychology degrees in college and do nothing with it because you have to go on to get a doctorate now. It's just like physical therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make any money. You can't do anything with it unless you go and get a doctorate. I mean, you're talking about 8-9 years of schooling without an income.
And then the bill's like this at the end.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, a lot of people don't use it. And I understand why. I do.
Okay. So hot subjects right now is what I want to talk about is like, okay, so positions, you have positions across the whole country. I see you had them in Pennsylvania and Carlisle. Is there anybody out there that's looking for a job possibly? What are some of the hot healthcare positions right now that you need filled?
Well, right now, we're getting ready. It sounds crazy, but the school year is ending, but the school year is starting in the fall. Ooh. So the schools are definitely a big one right now. And you need to start marketing for those jobs well before summer even starts. Some of them do have summer programs too, but we have to start marketing now to onboard every kind of profession in the schools. So you're talking about nurses, OT, PT, speech, all of that is definitely a hot button right now. We're still seeing a big push within our skilled nursing and assisted living facilities for sure. They're still suffering a lot. So you're going to see a lot of CNAs and LPNs and RNs. You're going to see that's what we're going to be pushing a lot right now. All the hospitals have slowed down. They've all pulled back. We've watched it through our direct clients and also through our VMSs that we sub through. They've all pulled back on how many jobs are available. And that obviously fluctuates too based on the regions. So, our southern regions, you're going to start seeing a way pull back even further. And then you're going to see where in the Midwest, where summertime, there's more people visiting, there's more crime, there's more gunshot wounds. You're going to see those jobs start to pick up over the next couple of months. But it's really still nursing. It's really been the primary one that we've been pushing everywhere. It's just, there's such a shortage.
Is it LPNs, RNs, or across the board on both?
It's both. It's both. But we do have a lot of facilities, they won't use LPNs. So,
oh, wow, they won't.
Yeah.
You think they would bring them in and maybe train them to become an RN and pay for that?
It's crazy to me because they really do need to be doing it. And they really need to be pushing these CNAs to go in and get their LPN and their LPNs to go and get their RN. I mean, we just need to keep pushing for that as much as possible.
Yeah, we do. We got to keep going to legislation and keep pushing these issues about what we need, Okay, so you ready for some fun now? So Let's talk about our family right here. Advanced Partners. You ready for this? So without
I don't have the Advanced Partner. I have a Starbucks.
We'll have to get you one of these, all right? I got one of these at the trade show. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what's in it. It could be water, could be alcohol. I'm just joking.
Whatever floats your boat. But I'm going to make sure they send me one of those mugs now that I just saw that.
Oh, put them on the spot right there. So without the funding, your staffing firm doesn't run. So tell me a little about how you stumbled upon them and became part of their family.
So when we started the company, obviously we started the company with our own money. And, we've had at the beginning, lots of ups and downs, finding our way through the industry. And we're still finding our way every day. That never stops. And, we made mistakes and we had successes. And when we started really kind of finding our way, we grew faster than we could handle financially. And I was familiar with Advanced Partners and I reached out to them, and David Garson, who is my number one.
He's the man. Shout out to David.
The best. Supportive, such a good person, such a down to earth. What you see is what you get, which I just love. And he ended up being my go-to person, walked us through how everything would, work. And we definitely had our ups and downs at the beginning. And they went through a lot during COVID also with staff. I mean, everybody did. And we really found our way with them. They listened to what our needs were, and they assigned people to us that could find solutions, fix problems that we were having. They've also been understanding when we've had clients that have run into financial problems. With the most current cyber attack with Change Health, which we felt with my other company, there's a lot of hospitals and skilled nursing assisted living facilities that have been hit hard with their cash flow. And Advance has worked with us and our clients to, stop the fees on those and allow us to buy them back at an earlier point, just because we know that there's going to be a lag time on all of these. We have to work through these problems with our clients, and Advance has helped us do that. But they've been amazing. I mean, we went from having, key people in every department, which was a lot for us to manage. Who do we send this to? Who do we send that to really trying to hone into having like one key person that we talk to that then will spread what we need to everybody at the company. And they've been amazing with that. They always listen to what we have to say. And I mean, I don't know where we would be without them today, honestly.
100%. And when you call David, seriously, he's back with you in no time. He's like shark, a text, I'll be back with you on a call. This is like, seriously, this is 100% service that you never get from other ones. I mean, we've dealt with everybody across the board, on this kind of stuff. And it's like, the number one thing is if you have a question, they're there. That's the whole thing about service. Anybody can sign up with anybody, but at the end of the day, it's about that service and you have somebody on your side at all times.
All the time. And they are so good about getting ongoing meetings set up. And I've never heard of any factoring companies like having a weekly powwow with a client to make sure that our team is on the same page as their team. And we're slowly getting to the point where I feel like those training wheels will be able to come off for all of us. And we can maybe do it once a month or every 2 weeks. But we had issues that we needed to clean up, and they jumped right in and made sure that, we had a team of people that could work with us weekly until we get things cleaned up.
100%. I got to throw this up there. This is fun. All right. Can I do it, Gretchen? You want me to say it?
You do it.
All right. Advanced Partners. They put the FUN, fun and funding. There it is. I love that slogan, by the way. It's so cheesy, but you know what? It's fun because fun and funding. It's like, seriously, people will remember them taglines.
Everybody's always in such a good mood there. And I know that they get beat up a lot. We have been one of those to do that to them, and they never take it personal. And I just love that about them. Sometimes they just listen, let us vent, and they're back smiling right after that and trying to do what they can to help us. And I just love that about all of them. And their team is just awesome. Just awesome.
They are, seriously. If you see all the stuff they do in the community and everything, they're on LinkedIn. It's the real deal, And even if you ever go to one of their trade shows, I mean, it's the caffeinated, you got the coffee shop and everything else. I mean, it's bringing fun. And that's what our industry is about, having fun with it,
Yeah.
We're all family again.
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm glad you're happy with all that stuff. So now it's time to jump into some stories. I want to hear some Gretchen stories about staffing. So you can give me a couple fun ones. You can give me something that just was, off the hook. Let's go for it.
I don't know if I have anything off the hook. Definitely have had some people disappear on us that we can't find that owe us money. So I don't know if that's a good story or a fun story, but
do you want me to go after him afterwards? Let me know. The shark will hunt him down.
Yes, please. Yes, that's what I was hoping you were here for. But yeah, I mean, you become, your own investigator trying to hunt people down, and it's very frustrating to me, especially when you try to partner with these people and really help them solve problems, and there's a lot of promises, and then they ghost you, and it's extremely frustrating. That is definitely, I've heard this story from a lot of different people in the staffing industry. So you are a little leery, and that is one good thing about Advance too, because they do check credit on people, but it doesn't always cover everything, and it can be very, very frustrating. But the one thing I think we were talking about offline before we got on this live chat is, I remember sitting in some of these hospital meetings. I was down in Florida, a hospital, and they start throwing acronyms out, and I have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm trying to just go with it and trying to change the subject and then get out of there and call everybody I know in healthcare to find out what the heck they're talking about. And I've been in healthcare for 29 years, and I still didn't understand what they were talking about. So that can be a little overwhelming at times. But, again, you find your way. And there's been times where I say, like, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about right now. So if you could just elaborate a little bit for me before we continue talking, because I do want to make sure we're giving you the right solutions. But that I think kind of comes with the territory, and you just got to ask, you've got to show them that you don't know everything. You really don't. And you're really there to be a partner. I will say that, and I don't want to like throw us under the bus, but working with some of these VMSs can be very frustrating. And it has definitely been a learning experience over the past 7 years. The communication is really poor. And I really think that it's a disservice to the clients. The lack of communication and the lack of follow through, and the timeliness and the urgency of filling positions, because as we all know right now, workers are hard to find. I don't care what industry you're in. It's hard to find quality employees. And when you don't respond about a potential hire, they're gone. They're long gone. They've been scooped up by somebody else, especially if they're quality. And it's really frustrating to me. And I think that there needs to be better communication between the VMSs and the people that they sub out to, including us and the clients. And I know we're not allowed to talk to the client, but there needs to be better communication overall if we really want to service our clients better and more timely and with quality solutions.
You know what, Gretchen? It's VMS, it's staffing firms. I run into it all the time. I don't even have competition. They don't service. I hate to say it. Staffing firms out there, start servicing better, because 60% of them, they forget about you after they put that person to work. And that's it.
That's exactly. And if it's staffing, they just throw in any warm body. And that was the one thing I learned about, the staffing industry as a whole before I even got into it, is like, I never want to be that person. And I watched it go on through a friend of mine that had a staffing company, and it blew my mind. Like, that's not a long-term solution. It's not for anybody. They're just going to maintain on that hamster wheel, our clients, forever if they keep going down that path.
Exactly. Okay, before we wrap things up, favorite hobby? I got to ask you, what do you like to do for fun, Gretchen?
Favorite hobby? Well, I love to travel everywhere and anywhere that I can. My son and I are going to Europe this year for 16 days, so I'm very excited for that. But
oh, wow.
I love to work out. I love to play tennis. I mean, like being outside as much as possible. Winter ski. I'm not very good, but I get out there and I try. And my son says, "Well, Mom, you really suck." But that's okay. I'm still out here getting hit by snowboarders. Luckily,
oh, goodness. Hey, trying is all it's about. So, okay, Gretchen, so where everybody can find you. I think you're on LinkedIn, or are you on any other platforms?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. We have our pages on Facebook and Instagram, and I try to be on LinkedIn, but it's hard running 2 companies and being a mom. So I don't communicate on there as much as I would like to, but I will get better at that for sure. But that's where I am.
You are a busy woman. Okay, shout outs. You're on the world here, on the X, everything like that. Any shout outs real quick before we go?
I mean, my partners, Becky and Brian, are the best. And my VP of my company, SleepRx, Crystal, give her a shout out. And also the director of operations, my brother, Joe. He is my main man. I could not do what I do without him. I can't say that enough. It's not always easy to work with family, but he is definitely my right-hand man.
Love it. Love it. Well, hey, Gretchen, thank you so much for coming on the show. We had a blast.
Thanks for having me, Richard.
We will have to do this again, since it's your first one now. You're going to be like a pro now. You'll be on every one.
I'm ready to go.
Love it. And we got to give a shout out to Advanced Partners again. Thank you so much for the podcast and the sponsorships.
We love you. Tiffany, we love you. You guys are the best.
That's it. Well, that's a wrap. Till next time. This is The Shark. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye, everybody.